Ladies and gents, you are very welcome. This is a special episode of the Abs Powerlifting Podcast. Episode 1. I'm your host, Iron Ian, of the Iron Mindset Podcast and Master of Ceremonies here at the Abs Powerlifting Series. I'm joined by the founder of the Abs Series, Mr. Jay Farrant, and we're going to give you a preview. We're going to have a bit of a chat about some of the flights coming up at this weekend's Abs Series 15. Jay, thank you very much for giving me some of your time today.
No problem. Glad to get this special edition podcast.
It is. It's looking like a very intense lineup. We have, as you can see, our athletes here on the banner behind us. All of our sponsors mentioned here too. Everyone from Motion Mars to Cerberus. We obviously had Maddie in just a few minutes ago. It's quite an interesting lineup here for this November competition. Not only are we seeing a very competitive Pro-Am, but the whole way down Division 1, Division 2, the Under-23 Open and Under-23 Showcase. We have some very high-level athletes being presented. Normally, we would see the Pro would be where we get most of the attention in August, but as we come here into November and as we look specifically, we're going to chat a little bit first about the female Pro-Am. We have some really heavy hitters coming in. I know you have had quite deep insights into the preparation for some of the ladies here representing Abs Powerlifting. Do you have any insights on the flight? Who are you projecting for the podium from what you've seen?
Yeah, so the Pro-Am ladies, I think Erin is kind of the clear favourite. Her training, I was kind of following her a little bit before she signed up anyway. But yeah, training's just gone, up 2 levels. It's ridiculous. So the abs effect, I call it. For people, it's kind of like they just level up their training. So yeah, I think it's Erin's to lose more so than, and I think I'd love to see her come back then and do August with the the Abs Pro. Behind that though, it's kind of, that's where it's like the competition is. Louise Kenna's looked amazing. This prep, she's hit PBs. So, you know what you're going to get from Louise, usually a 9 for 9. And then you got Megan, Lotta. They're both good comp day lifters. Training's gone well. And Nicola as well, isn't it?
Christina.
Christina,
We've got Christina Duncase, who is flying in. She is also looking very strong in this prep.
She pulled a nice 190 there the other day on her deads. So yeah, but again, you never know.
I think the big battle here, again, I would agree, Erin Gibson looks fairly untouchable in the prep at the moment. I think she's the firm favourite for the number 1 podium position, and as you said, it's more than likely her competition to lose at this stage. She'd have to make a serious hames of the attempt selection, but it looks like she's coming in ideal condition. So the real test is going to be for the 2nd and 3rd podium positions. Louise Kenna Whelan, I should say. I did get a message from Noli about that. That is his wife, so fair. She has come off an incredible prep, and it looks like, especially since Abs Series 13 in Scotland, where she had a pretty good day out, maybe not exactly the day she wanted, but still managing the podium. I think to see a veteran of the game, somebody who's in it as long as Louise, still hitting personal bests to this day, I still don't think we've seen her true potential, so I think that's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, we were looking at the dots the other day, and all going well, she could hit 500 dots, and I don't think any master female has come close to that in the series from Ireland or IPF and USAPL. So, which is just, she's gonna kill me. But like at 40 or 41, she's I think she's closest to 41.
So safer to say Masters 1.
Yeah, M1. To still be hitting them big numbers and making progress is, that's what powerlifting is about, longevity, and keep doing it. So yeah, I'm excited to see my lifters personally and the new girls come over and put up a good show.
For sure. The thing I think I'm most interested to see is between Lotta Lineberger and Megan Fitzpatrick. They're both going for that under 69 squat record. Yeah. That's going to be a good battle. Despite where they place on the podium, seeing who can take that record is going to be some good viewing.
So for context, we have a gym board in our gym. There's no abs records, but that gym board is kind of, I think it definitely means more to most of the abs lifters than say like national records. So like Lotta and Megan, they would have been looking at that board for a long time, and now they get to have a pop at the squat record, and yeah, I think that'll be and they both should break it. It's like whoever gets it first, I would say, or has the balls to go up. So
They are both looking really, really good coming in as well. I've had a chance to speak to both of them in some of the Zoom interviews ahead of it, and they're both pretty confident coming in. Other lifters, as we mentioned, Christina Duncase is looking strong, and then we also have Comfort Jesus, I'm going to butcher this, Adedokan, who has climbed the ranks in the series. So while Comfort may not be contending for the podium, we've watched her go from Division 2 into Division 1 and now into the Pro-Am. So very excited to see how much more she can build on that total as she continues to develop as an athlete.
I think Christina was D2 originally as well. I know she was definitely D1 anyway, but another lifter coming up from the ranks. It's great to see, you know.
I think what's going to be interesting then for these lifters is because people are maybe not considering them for podium, they could sneak in. They could. They don't have to be. If they go and have like perfect days and let the other people have the risky battles, they could actually secure their podium position.
It's the old Boris, old Boris special.
And then before we get on to the Pro-Am males, I want to have a little bit of a talk about the under 23 male showcase. So we have a really impressive lineup of incredible lifters, particularly for 23 and under, including Conor Kiernan, Jake Bailey, Alex Elliott, Ebo Crankson, Sam Parker, Adam Alalfi, and George Kohler, who has had a bit of a war of words with Conor and the boys online. George is reckoning he has a pretty clean sweep coming in. Conor's training has been going incredible over the last while, as has Alex Elliott's. Ebo as well, coached by Mason Mills. We have some pretty heavy hitters here in the under 23 male showcase. What has your take been on this as the Ab Series promoter?
I'm glad George came on because he's been quite vocal, which I'm a big fan of, and he's got the numbers to back it up. I think he's helped like push the other lads, even though they haven't been quite as vocal. You know, everyone does take note. So I think he's definitely helped make the under 23 a bit more interesting. Yeah, I think it's between him and Conor. I think Conor's training's leveled up. He's very light, which nobody knows. They do now. And he's been training light, which nobody knows, but they do now. So yeah, like as a meet director, George and Conor, I think they're going to put on a good show. The other lads are not. They're just there as well. So if them two lads fuck up, then it's anyone's game. If someone, pulls big numbers out the bag, gets big PBs, which happens a lot with the younger lifters, it's anyone's game. But obviously I want Conor to win, being my lad, my lifter moving to Australia. But he's going to need a 9 for 9 performance, no mistakes, and I think he'll need George to miss maybe a lift to sneak his way into that podium.
He has been looking incredible over the last 6 months or so, Conor. His numbers are trending up, and as you mentioned, he's coming in a lot leaner. His body composition's improved a lot, and I think this is the most focus we've seen out of him. Some of that I'm going to assume is because, as you mentioned, Conor is heading off to Australia for a bit of explore a bit more of the world and experience some more of life. So very sad to see him go, but this is probably going to be an excellent send-off for him, and I think he does have what it takes to take that number 1 podium position. But as we even look further down potential podium positions, Alex Elliott has been making massive strides lately, particularly on his bench press. I don't know what it is. The guy, he's short and stout and he's got a big, massive chest. I could see him really, but I'd say in the next couple of years, we're probably going to see another 200 kilo plus bench presser out of this, what I would consider a more lightweight lifter. He competes under 83 more often than not. So very excited to see Alex. And then, as I mentioned, Ebo, who's coming over under Mason Mills. He was with us at the Pro-Am previously and had a great showing. And looking at his training online the last while, he's been repping 300 plus deadlifts. So he's going to have a great day out too. What would your projected podium be for the under 23 showcase?
I think Ebo and Alex are kind of in the same boat. They've both got experience competing here. Alex has, done IPF Worlds. Both young, hungry lifters. I think Ebo will have the advantage of the bigger pull. So if he's in contention, I think that will be kind of what separates him. Alex lost last year to Conor in that scenario. And Mark Stell beat Toaster, another 83 kilo lifter at the time, same scenario. So the deadlift is massive. That's probably the only downside when you run a dots competition. It's competitive, but the bigger lifters do tend to just have that deadlift advantage. But that being said, I think, I just think it'll come down to who executes on the day. And they're both great lifters. I've seen Ebo lift he's back again. I think he's already signed up for April as well, so
Amazing.
he's not going anywhere. And then obviously Alex will, Alex knows how to pull it out as well.
Yeah, serious. Alex has a serious staying power. We've seen him grind it, particularly on squats. He's got quite a lot of fighting. He's got that dog in him. But what's great is to see is that these lifters are in this for the long haul. They understand that these are all stepping stones to bigger and better meets, whether it's Clash of Titans or the Abs Pro. We look then across to the under 23 female showcase. We have 3 lifters in it, so the podium is pretty much set. However, it's going to be an interesting battle, particularly because many of these ladies, 2 of these ladies in particular, Lan Gaffney and Fianna Doyle, train together. They're training partners, both under the Abs Powerlifting banner, and they're going up against Ellen O'Leary. Naturally, you train quite closely with Fianna and Lan. What are your thoughts coming into this fight for those 2 ladies?
Yeah, like both. Fianna has had a bit of a, I wouldn't say bad prep, but like she's become an adult now and she's out working more, and she's just off the back of I think it was Worlds, was it? Yeah, Worlds. So, but her numbers are still there. I think she's a great game day lifter. Lan is literally just off the back of Euros, so again, she's really enjoying her training. So with Lan, it's like if she's enjoying it, she's hitting PBs. So I think, I don't know, it's just this comes a little bit different with the pressure than saying going to Worlds or Euros, So I think they'll both put up good numbers, get PBs, and battle it out for 3rd. And obviously Ellen is a former Abs girl. She came through the academy. She's continued to make progress since she's gone as well. So, and she's a big deadlift. So I think it's a 3-way.
Yeah.
Not literally, but I think it's a 3-way battle, which is good, And again, something we didn't mention, the under 23s can podium in the Pro-Am as well. So they're in the same flight. So who knows, you could see one of them 3 girls sneak into the podium on the Pro-Am as well.
Amazing. And I think that's a big thing, particularly for Lan and Fianna. They are both used to those high stakes meets. They've both represented the country. Has Ellen represented the country yet?
Ellen got her first cap with Abs. And Lan actually won. Her first ever comp was Ab Series, and she won Division 2.
Amazing.
So yeah.
So all 3 girls are used to these high stake meets, and they both understand. I'm sure they all understand what they're coming in to achieve. I suppose that's going to be the thing. It could potentially come down to that final pull where potentially Ellen might have the advantage, but I suppose we'll just have to see on the day. That's the big contention, I think, for a lot of lifters. As you mentioned, Fianna, a great game day lifter, which is vital. Before we get on to the Pro-Am males, which is the main event of the competition, coinciding with the female Pro-Am and some of the serious heavy hitters we've had at the Ab Series before, many returning champions, as you might say. Looking across, we have Division 1 and Division 2 males and females. We have a whole host, and the under 23 open, I should mention as well, where we have a whole host of young, bright stars for the future, including Abs Powerlifting's own Evan Wallace, wide boy, who I believe is making his his 9th Ab Series appearance. Yeah. So, it's going to be another big day out for Evan. He'll be a star of the show in his own right.
I think he has the record for most appearances now.
I think he is. Yeah, I think previously it was me, but I think Evan has overtaken me now.
Hall of Famer right there.
We have Dylan Farrelly, who is making, he's had actually quite an interesting competition season. His last meet was Ab Series Teens, and he's signed up to this meet as well to try and put up a qualifying total for some of the competitions coming into next year. We have, as I mentioned, whole host of great lifters in the under 23 open. Jenny Reid as well is going to be taking part, looking to push closer and closer to make it into the Abs 9 a.m. crew as well.
That's just another point on the open. I kind of breezed over them, but you'll get at least one freak from that open, like an Alex Elliott who just came out of nowhere when he did his series. You're going to get that one motherfucker who just comes from nowhere and sneaks onto the podium, so keep an eye out for them.
I think that's the fun bit as well, when you've got the relative unknowns and they come in and they just beast everybody, and that can happen, and people can make serious impressions that way because people aren't paying too much attention to them, and then they just put together the perfect or great day. I'm bringing a new lifter to the platform, Sarah Doyle, who I am quite confident could podium as well, so we'll see how she gets on. Looking then very quickly, we're going to look at Division 1 females, a relatively small flight. We have Abs Powerlifting's Katrina Whelan, we have Zita McCabe, we have Emily Allen, Elena O'Halloran, Carolina Jarosinska, forgive me the pronunciations, Malin Ains and Emma Keys then coming up from Urban Barbell. So I think that's going to be competitive in its own right. It's Katrina's first meet in Division 1, and I know Zita is going to be trying to be pushing towards the Pro-Am qualification as well. I know you have probably seen the girls in and out doing their training about under Davidas Barasas, Ab's coach, and they both seem to be flying. So I would have a strong consideration for those two ladies for the Division 1 podium. But is there anyone else in that lineup that you've seen keeping an eye on their training? I know Emma's back.
Emma's back. She was good before she went and had a sprog. So, you know, her training, she's under Ian Benson. Her training is going to be going well. And like Division 1 is like, you always get them lifters who just push on.
Yeah.
So it's probably the most entertaining division because the range is so tight for Division 1 that, you know, one lift usually separates the podium. So Zita's looked really good, and do you say Katrina as well?
Katrina's in there too.
Katrina's been, you know, progressing since she joined Abs as well, under yourself. So yeah, I think it's anyone's game. You know, I go with Zita because I've seen her training, and she's kind of leveled up a little bit since she joined the 9am crew. So I'll stick with
She's
Zita.
Also a veteran of the game. She's done quite a few meets, and I think that will play to her advantage that she's been in that scenario many, many times before. And that is a big part of the game. You could have the best training numbers, but meet day is a whole different animal, and it really depends on who you are on meet day and who your coach is, who your handler is. Then if we look then towards the Division 1 males, I think this is going to be a very interesting battle now as we look towards this. Tristan Jacobs, TJ Payne Free on Instagram, I'm sure many in the Irish powerlifting scene are well aware of TJ. He is going to be contending for his Pro-Am qualification, but he's going against another pain therapist, Kevin McDonald, or Kevin McDermott, I should say, the battle of the
therapists.
yeah.
Yeah, well, I think it's 2-0 to Kev, isn't it?
At the moment it is, yeah.
So, yeah, that's kind of a grudge match now. I'm going to go with TJ. I think his training's gone fucking really well. He can't lose again, otherwise he won't be able to show his face around here.
Yeah, it's going to be embarrassing.
But I haven't seen much of Kev's training. Kev seems to progress every comp as well. Them boys only just got promoted as well, so it'd be nice to see them both go straight into the Pro-Am as well.
And especially now as we come into 2024 the qualifying dots is going to be increasing, so this is their last chance to qualify with the 440 dots. Speaking of, we have many other ABS mainstays. Jay Boggin will be taking part, Kieran Phelan, and Ryan McCann, who is part of the ABS nutrition team and is going to be making his ABS series debut, which I'm very excited to see. Ryan has made phenomenal progress since coming on board at ABS Powerlifting. He's put on a massive amount of muscle and he's repping previous personal bests, so this is going to be a serious test for Ryan to see what he's really capable of, but I could see Ryan being a head contender in the Pro and potentially the Pro in the next couple of years. Who are you projecting for podium? It's quite a contentious flight. Like, we do have Big Luca in there as well. We've Sean Keys coming up from Urban Barbell. We've Serban Baki coming across, the Meme King. We've got a lot of lads there that are looking fairly strong. Do you have any projections for the podium for Division 1 males?
I think Ryan will win. His training's gone really well. He's very good at putting it together on comp day, touch wood. Yeah, I feel like it's Ryan's to lose, but don't want to eat my words. Yeah, Luca's got the pull, so it all depends on if he's going to water load for that. And then, yeah, I think it's just wide open, man. Like Division 1, there's only 40 dots range, so that's probably one of the reasons why I held back putting it up, because I thought it was always very competitive. But yeah, you know, one training block, you can easily slab 20 dots onto your scores. So yeah, I think it's just a big orgy for third place, to be honest. Big gangbang.
And that is what makes it interesting, because we can't pick a clear winner, and I think that's what makes it interesting. I will speak very quickly on the Division 2 males, as I think I have the most lifters in it. So we do have an excellent lineup, but Division 2, for those that are unaware, it's also a lot of first-timers come in it. So it's your first ever meet, you'll be in Division 2. I am bringing particularly 5 heavy hitters to this meet, 4 of which I think are in contention for #1 podium position. We have abs powerlifting's own Sam Barlow, Mr. Ken Barlow, as you call him, the guy who had the tinted out Mercedes Sprinter at the last meet for us. He'll also be DJing the after party. We have Jacob Pratch, who works very closely with Mario Morelli in Motion Masters. He takes some of the excellent shots that you see all over the internet in the post-comp. You see some of those excellent scenic shots. That's all Jacob. We have James McLaughlin, who has recently joined abs powerlifting and has added about 70 kilos to his subtotal. So ideally, James will have a great day out. And then making his powerlifting debut is Eddie Malinarich, a very old friend of mine, who is coming in as my projected #1 over almost everyone else on the list. I think if Eddie can hold it together on meet day, he's probably going to finish anywhere between a 655 to 670 total. He's also relatively light and lean, and he's been putting together an excellent performance. And he is traveling for the meet. He's traveling over from Slovakia, so we're just going to have to see what the travel takes out of him. But yeah, I think we're going to be looking at a podium of potentially Eddie, Jacob, James, or Sam. And then I have one other guy, Christian Pontes, who has only just done his first meet last August at the Abs Pro weekend and has already made excellent progress in that time. Now, we do have some other veterans of the sport. Paul Hearn, who is coming in as well, who has previously competed numerous times. He's quite strong, but he usually comes in quite heavy around the 125, 130 kilo mark. So don't know how that's going to affect him on dot score. But across the whole board, we do have some really excellent lifters. And as always, Division 2 is the place to look out for, the ones to watch in the coming years at the Abs series. Same when we look back over the Division 2 females. We have some lifters we've seen numerous times through Abs. We have Renee Curtis, who is member of NERT under Rhea McKeever. Same with Evian McKeever, his sister. And then we also have Olivia Creef, who is coached by Jane Harrington, previously of Abs Powerlifting. And then some other lifters littered throughout there who could potentially be vying for their Division 1 promotion. So it's going to be an excellent weekend of lifting. However, I want to spend some time talking to you about the male Pro-Am flight, which I think is going to be probably one of the most competitive Pro-Ams we've ever seen. So tell me your thoughts. We have an excellent lineup all the way from the bottom to the top of the nominations. What are you thinking coming into the male Pro-Am?
Just before we go on to that, I forgot to give Daniel Doherty a shout out in D1. I don't know if he's on the list, but that's the gentleman who does our opening ceremony at the Abs Pros, and he put up a monster squat there the other day, 320. He's probably not on the list. He's not? No. And I was just thinking there when you mentioned Paul. So yeah, I wouldn't write that guy off. He's probably going to total, close to 900. But Pro-Am, Jesus, so this Pro-Am is like the most competitive to date. Obviously, Tommy pulled out there with a bit of an injury, but still, I think there's like 7 or 8 lads with 500 plus dots, ranging from 500 to 530. So could even be more. And that's not including like Connor and George, who are probably going to comfortably go over 500 dots. So you're looking at like 9 lads. So yeah, it's really exciting. I think we always say this, whoever goes 9 for 9, but literally whoever goes 9 for 9, I think is going to just get on podium. I'm going to go potentially Mason. Even though I train the other lads, and that all comes down to deadlift. Yep. He's going to know what to put on, unless he fucks it up. He's just walked in. Yeah. Unless he makes a complete balls of it, which I think he's got one of the highest success rates in the series. He's going to know what to put on the bar. So, if he's within reaching distance of Mike and Thomas and the other lads, I think that's just a massive advantage. So, actually, I'm not sure what Mike Jones pulls. I think he's got a pretty big pull.
At the moment, Mike Jones is projected #1 on nominations. He was last with us at Abs Series 13 in Scotland, where he had a very impressive performance. So it will really depend on what type of condition he shows up in. But as you mentioned, we've several lifters in and around the 500 plus dots mark. Mason Mills, as you mentioned, this is going to be his 4th appearance with us. He was with us at Abs Series 9. He competed at Abs Pro 2022, where he was one of only 2 lifters that had a perfect 3 for 3 on deadlifts. It was himself and the winner, Dave Richardson. So Mason has consistently built his total over time. The thing I think is going to be interesting coming into this, as we look across, as you said, we have Ian Benson of Urban Barbell, Mason Mills, Rob Flett is across with us. We have Thomas Darry flying in from Ison, Mike Jones, Abs Powerlifting's Colin Larkin Lynch. The big dog, yeah. He is looking very big, very strong. So all these guys, I think, have contention for the number one podium position. I really think it depends on the other battles, because I know, for example, for Mason coming into this competition, a big goal of his is not only to put up the qualifying total for the Clash of Titans next year in April, but also to look at a 400 plus kilo squat. So my interest for him is it more important for him to win the competition or get his 400 kilo squat?
Yeah, so we won't spoil it, but both. We might even go 402, who knows? And just be a fucking player. But like either way, he needs that squat. So it's kind of a no. That's getting ticked off either way. He needs it to win, and he's pretty much going on the bar. So yeah.
Based on his 390, most recently, he posted on Instagram 390 kilograms. That moved so well. I think it would be, he has to load at least 400 based on how that went. And very, very interested to see how he gets on. I know he's joked about and memed on for his bench press, but his bench has actually come up quite a bit as well in the last while as he's been working closely with you, and he's always had a reliable deadlift. So very interested to see what Mason puts together. But I will say as well, I have a strong bias towards Ian Benson doing well. Don't know if it's just because we share a second name, but or first name I should say, but he has been documenting his training journey on YouTube and has been putting together some seriously impressive numbers. Ian's also an excellent meet day lifter. He tends to come alive when he's on the platform. I think he could also potentially weigh in very, very light. So I think Ian could push on for that number one position, and I know in the long run he wants to be one of the main players in the likes of the pro in abs. We do have Rob Fleck coming back across with us as well after a very impressive showing at a Clash of Titans in April. Rob brings a great degree of intensity, and he had some choice words for the lads on his Zoom call, saying he may as well bring his cowboy hat for all the cowboys he's going to be on the podium with. So Rob's coming in looking strong. I know he did have a little bit of a back issue recently, but he's been working closely with Tristan in Division 1 and seems to be getting on just fine at the moment. Do you have any thoughts on what the podium could actually be?
Honestly, like, it's just no. I'd be lying. Not like any one of them lads, like 7, 8 lads, including George and Connor, because they're in the mix as well. It wouldn't surprise me if any of them, like 7 or 8 lads, came first. So it's going to be literally who puts it together, who isn't injured. There are like some lads there are carrying niggles that they haven't made public. You know, whose injuries are going to show up on the day or not show up. Who's going to have the best attempt selection, not get carried away in the moment. What's the weather going to be like? Is it going to be fucking freezing like last year? Is it going to be normal? Little things like that will all come into play. The experience of being here before. But the best thing is there's going to be a new Pro-Am champion. Or new, you know, some different's going to win this. So that's kind of what I'm most excited about, is having a new person to take a Pro-Am title.
For sure, and I think this really starts to lend itself to how the AB series is evolving coming into 2024. This is the scores and podiums put up at this competition will likely change the face of what we expect coming into meets from April, August and November next year, and of course Cologne then in June. It's going to really change the face of who we associate with the abs series history. Like, we've previously had generations of the battles between Jesse Moran and Jake Brennan. We had Luke Tolman and Dave Richardson. Again, all these guys still part of the series, but as we see, as things move on, we start to see new names come to prominence. As we mentioned, Ian Benson, Mason Mills, Rob Flett. Even further down in the nominations, AJ Cronin is going to be going against one of his own lifters, Ray Mackey. And Ray Mackey was saying he's making it a personal mission to both beat his coach, and Jordan Konchak, who, again, another veteran of Irish powerlifting who's been around for a very long time. I think he's competed at the series before, but not for a little bit of time.
A long time. And thing with Jordan, I know Jordan very well, unfortunately, is he's been quiet online. So I know that his training's going well, potentially, if he's quiet online. So, you know.
I'm interested to see as well how Thomas Darry coming across from Ison gets on. Very strong guy, training out of Thor's gym. However, this is his first time with us at the Abs series, and I think a lot of lifters are taken by surprise at the pace, the intensity of the meet. We have an excellent platform crew, one of the best in the world, and we tend to get through flights pretty quick. In comparison to a lot of platforms around the world. How have you found then in the time we've been running, like we're coming into our 15th Ab series, how have you found that the lifters have adapted to our pace here, the intensity of the platform and the environment? Because it is very stimulating, it's very loud, the crowd are very boisterous, they're very rambunctious, whatever vigorous words you want to use. They're Irish. So how have you seen that? You're a veteran of probably hundreds of meets at this stage. How have you noticed the athletes have approached today versus other competitions?
I think at earlier on in the series, it caught a lot of people by surprise. But as the platforms got more known around Europe and the States now, more so around Europe, it's like people know it's going to be fast-paced, strict standards. So, like I think lifters are definitely coming over more prepared, which is you're seeing that in the performances as well. So yeah, I think it's not as much as a factor now, but like, for example, Thomas, so like some people it just won't affect. Like Fernando got a little bit of shit, he came over and just cleaned out. But now looking at Fernando, he's literally a world-class athlete, so he could be an outlier, but you don't know, like this is Thomas's first ever meet outside of Iceland, so we all know that like traveling does change things. I wouldn't say it affects you, sometimes it doesn't. Sleeping in a different bed, eating, Macari's, fish and chips, all that, all the different food, all the little variables do change. But I think people are more prepared for it now. Anyway, like word has got around, and people just train with less rest periods, and they're a little bit more acute and smarter with their attempts. Whereas in untested powerlifting, I don't think that really, it was just like lock in seconds and send it on thirds. It was never really like tactical, whereas it's more the series, you can't do that. If you want to win, you have to be a fucking a game day lifter. You can't just go 6 for 9 and send it and hope for the best. So I think people have adapted, word's got around now, and it does attract that type of lifter that wants to test himself and not afraid of it, which is, again is another thing as well.
Well, if we even look back to the first ever Abs Pro back in 2018, and then as the series has evolved from there, I think it's fair to say this is going to be a bit of a turning point. The series has gotten bigger and better every single competition. I've been here since the first ever Abs series, so I've seen how it's grown and the scope gets bigger and bigger. So my question for you is, as we come into 2024, what is the next level up from here? And again, this is probably a bit removed from Ab Series 15, but this is I think is a big turning point. We're going to see this amazing upward projection in the meets as we move into 2024.
Yeah, so like I've been working on 2024 for the whole of 2023, and I'm working on 2025 with everyone. But I think the biggest thing is April and June are sold out pretty much straight away. There's such a pool of new lifters from coming in for these comps. So it's looking at April comp, you've got Noel, Lenny, Josh Edwards, and pretty much everyone else is new, and they're from Holland, France, Czech Republic, new countries, new lifters, new English lifters. So the pro-am pool is gonna like almost double for next year. Then some of the mainstays like Luke Tolman, he's doing Ghost, and then he hopefully will do the Pro. Them types of lads, they're not going to be doing the Pro-Ams, which opens it up for another wave of Pro-Am lifters. So yeah, it's definitely going to grow, and that base layer of lifters is just going to elevate the main events, which is the Abs Pro and the Clash of Titans. I think, not only are they going to be the biggest events right now, I can see them numbers being bigger than ever, which for me, like personally, is like what I want to see. I want to see an 1100 podium at Clash, and the lads are there to do it. So it is going to level up next year. There's an extra, there's extra competitions. competition is going to get deeper and tougher. The standards will always be the same, and then 2025, I can say this now, but like we're looking at pulling the Clash and putting it in England for 2025. So that'll be our first international main event. You know, we have run like a series in Scotland and Germany, and there is something else in the pipeline, potentially in the US. So can't say on that one yet. It's still early days, but so yeah, things are going to really level up, and we're going to hopefully push the boundaries of what's been there before.
Amazing. And as you said, as the series continues to grow, we'll attract bigger powerlifting stars, people that are incredibly well known. We've already seen the rise of stars like Denise Herber, Fernando Arias, and Boris Cheshkov, who have just blown the standards up out of the water. Previously established standards continue to rise. Jay, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Do you have any final words for our audience who are, I'm sure at this stage, extremely excited for Ab Series 15?
Tune in, make sure you buy the live stream, don't be a cheap ass. Enjoy it. If you're lifting, enjoy it. And yeah, just keep supporting the series, and thank you.
Gang, thank you very much for joining us. It has been an absolute pleasure having Jay taking some of his time as we count down the days to Abs Series 15. You can come and watch live on the 18th and 19th of November, or catch it live on the KiloCast live stream. We will see you there.